I may be a year late to this review, but I would like to redirect your attention to the fact that Collective Minds was a year late to dropping the Xbox Series X StrikePack. By the time they drop one for PS5, the 5 might be a 6, and I will have gone from a 4 to a 3. But here's the best part. Collective Minds took a year to drop what's essentially the exact same device as its predecessor, aside from the USB-C connection. They've done absolutely nothing new with the next-gen StrikePacks.
I did. You didn't. You didn't! Because it's not there!
It's yet another case of copy and paste, as the Dominator also received 0 changes. This means that yes, the Dominator still is $5 cheaper, but it has 2 less buttons, and oh yeah, it's way less ergonomic because its buttons are paddle-shaped. So at the end of the day, just like with the Xbox One StrikePacks, the Eliminator is the only one worth covering. If you'd like to see a StrikePack Dominator review, rewatch the last 60 seconds. And before we move forward with this review, I'd quickly like to announce our sponsor for today's video, PCBWay. PCBWay is a PCB assembly service that also does stuff like CNC machining and 3D printing, all of which have instant quotes available on their website linked in the description below. So if you're looking to do your own advanced DIY projects, be sure to check them out. I'd like to give a huge thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. So anytime I mention the StrikePacks, I could even just kind of talk about them. People seem to get upset about the mods. I'm not a very big mods fan myself. I mean, I don't get irrationally angry about it, but I do want to make clear that this review is specifically because the Eliminator allows you to have 4 remappable buttons on the back of your Xbox Series X controller. This review is not about the mods and using those mods to be a little bitch and beat up kids in Modern Warfare 2. They're not that useful either way. They kind of suck ass, if I'm honest. The mod pass is really the only way that the mods would actually be viable, and the stock mods, for the most part, are pretty subpar. But for those who wish to impose their ego onto others, there you go. According to Collective Minds, listen to this, you should level the playing field with macro on-demand technology. That's the most pussy shit I've ever read with my own 2 fucking eyes, ever. Thankfully, the 4 buttons on the bottom of the controller don't necessarily have to have anything to do with the mods. They can simply be remapped to any other button on the controller, much like the paddles on an Elite Series 2 or a SCUF controller. The buttons do come at the sacrifice of both $40 and the wireless connectivity of your controller, but for first-time pro controller users, or if you're an extensive user who's trying to try out a different experience without breaking the bank, the Eliminator is the perfect option. If you already have an Xbox Series X or an Xbox One controller, it'll only cost you $40. I myself actually started out on the StrikePack Dominator before very quickly switching over to the Eliminator. Mainly because the 4 buttons on the Eliminator, even to this very day, are some of the most comfortable buttons I've ever used. And I heavily recommend manufacturers to continue the button designs, because paddles can eat shit. In a landscape of pro controllers where everyone wants to be unique, so they always have to do some stupid garbage with their paddles or their buttons, it feels very refreshing to see the StrikePack Eliminator keep its button design, even if I wish they would have changed some things. You know, it's weird too, because a couple years back, they changed the USB port and the USB cable because people had consistently complained about the fact that they broke all the time. And I haven't really seen that many people complain about this, so I'm assuming it's just a me issue. But I accidentally remapped the buttons all the fucking time, which is something I've been complaining about for on the order of 4 years now. The remap process is by far the quickest remap process of any remappable controller ever. Hands down. Not only are the remap buttons extremely sensitive, they're also right where my knuckles rest. Literally no one did anything this generation. Like the whole new Xbox Series X PS5 generation, no one's done fuck all. It truly is a one-to-one experience this generation. I mean, even the reliability issues, at least from what I've read, they seem to be pretty similar, so is it even recommendable? With even the worst of devices, there is a use case for them. With the Eliminator, it's very cut and dry. It's really only viable if you're looking for a cheap path to 4 extra buttons and don't mind a wireless connection. Regardless of whether you've used paddles before or not, it's a solid option. And it's also, in my opinion, one of the best options if you plan on doing a DIY Elite or DIY Pro controller. If you're in the position where you don't already have an Xbox controller or you don't plan on building your own DIY project, I don't really see the StrikePacks as being all that worth it, mainly because if you buy an Xbox controller plus a StrikePack, at that point you could have bought 2 GameSir G7s, 1 PowerA Fusion Pro 2, or 1 Victrix Gambit. But for all the other situations I mentioned, it does make a lot more sense. Really, that's all I have to say about the StrikePack Eliminator. I am going to be reviewing its newest counterpart, the wireless Armor X Pro, and I will also be comparing it to that. So a wireless StrikePack for Xbox controllers versus a wired StrikePack. They both have their advantages, believe it or not. They also both suck. Well, they kind of suck, but you know. StrikePacks have never been the most reliable, so also keep that in mind. Since recording this video, Collective Minds has come out with a hybrid version of the Eliminator for both Xbox One and Xbox Series X. It achieves this by having a hot swappable micro USB or USB-C port for both controllers. Based on Collective Mind's reputation with USB-C ports, I wouldn't really trust this though. Also, I'd rather step in my own balls than review this, so don't expect me to ever review this. In fact, I give so few shits I'm recording this bit of the video on the DualSense Edge, I'm not even kidding. I'd recommend buying the Eliminator specific to your Xbox One or Xbox Series X controller to ensure that the port doesn't actually die, or at least have a lower chance of said event happening. This now concludes the StrikePack saga for Xbox Series X. I will see you guys in the next console generation because holy shit, I don't even know if they're going to make one for PS5.